Hey, everybody, welcome back to the continued coverage of CLIC 5. I'm Dave Mignano. Again, still riding solo. Glenn just got off stage. He's getting ready for his next moderation. But we have a great guest with us here right now, Mr. David Donnelly with Gecko Hospitality. We're going to talk about something that a lot of people are, of course, talking about. That is labor. So, we are, as Glenn just popped in to give me a quick wave real quick before he gets back on stage. But, Dave, I want to talk to you about the labor issue because the industry is facing it, right? Things are coming back. We are having a great time here at CLIC. And part of that message is how fast things are coming back, not just for transactions, but also for travel. And hotels need to fill staffing. And it's been a challenge not just for hotels, but also for restaurants, a lot of other parts of the hospitality industry. So tell us what you're seeing at Gecko Hospitality. Obviously, if you don't know Gecko, they're a recruiting firm. So if you guys need help with filling positions, reach out to them. If you are in the state of Michigan or half of California, reach out to David Donnelly himself. But David, how are things going with the staffing crisis per se? And how are you guys helping it through?
Well, it's pretty crazy. As you know, everybody's talking about the great resignation, where I think a lot of it might be the great awakening, where people in the hospitality industry during COVID basically had time to reflect on what they're doing. Those that were furloughed definitely had time to reflect. And those people that had to work through the pandemic didn't have time to reflect, but do now. So we did lose quite a few people in the hospitality industry to other industries. So it's been, we're very busy right now trying to fill these roles, but it's very difficult to find the candidates to fill the roles. Normally would be able to give a client, 4 to 6 candidates. Now we're able to give them maybe 1 or 2.
So how does that impact the hiring decisions, right? Because when you're doing hiring for a hotel, you of course want to hire somebody, but you also need to make sure, especially in some of those premium positions, you're hiring the right person.
Right.
So how do you go about a situation where maybe it's a executive level position that you're just not getting the candidates for, and the ones you are getting maybe don't fit the bill? How does that work?
Well, you don't want to just hire for the sake of hiring. You'd still want the right staff member, the right candidate for the job. And like I was saying, we're normally able to get 4 to 6 really qualified candidates, usually in a 2 to 3 week period where we're starting to do the interview process. Now it's taking longer to get the qualified people, and we're not getting as many. So a lot of times we're trying to give consultation to the property owners that perhaps they need to strengthen their benefits program. What are they doing to attract better employees? How do you get very successful candidates that are working at other properties to come to your property? What makes you different? What are your sizzle points? That's what we're trying to work through in order to get. We still have some properties that are not fulfilling that, not adding benefits and things like that, and they're struggling the most.
Well, it comes, it's kind of a catch-22 in a way if you think about it, right? Because adding benefits like that, they do cost money. And hotel owners right now are strapped for cash in a lot of scenarios, right? So it's kind of finding that right balance. But how has the hiring process, maybe pre-pandemic, how long would it take to fill a position versus how long it's taking now? How has that changed over the last few years?
It's definitely taking longer. Pre-pandemic, even though the labor market was pretty tight pre-pandemic because hotels were doing so well, that they were taking most of the people off the market. So again, it came back to why would somebody change their position to go work for a particular property? And what did you offer that's different than somebody else, correct? Now it's finding the people. There's plenty of open roles, but now it's finding quality candidates that that may be working someplace else. Again, how do you attract them over? They may have left the industry briefly to go into real estate or financial advising, and to draw them back in. And how do you get that quality of life, that quality of balance there?
Well, that's my next question. What are some of the things that candidates that you speak to are looking for now? What is most important to them?
They want culture. They want a better culture than perhaps where they came from. A lot of them are still a little bit upset with maybe how it was handled when they were furloughed or laid off. They're also looking for less hours. I know that kind of sounds weird in the hospitality industry, but a lot of them left the industry because they were working way too many hours, and they didn't have the proper support staff. I do have a client that actually has added support staff. Instead of having one assistant general manager to support the general manager, they have 2 or 3 at their properties.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And now that's also a possible way to attract talent, right? Maybe there's a lot of flexibility in that. Maybe if you have several layers like that, maybe there's an opportunity to do, a little more flexible scheduling. Maybe there's an opportunity to do some remote work, even in an operations role. You have to kind of get creative. So what have you been seeing? The people that have had success in hiring people back and retaining talent, what have they been doing that's been different than other hotel companies?
That's a good question. The one I mentioned earlier, when they were adding more support staff to the operations, really helps. I think onboarding is really important, setting the expectation. And so when you're attracting talent, there have been instances where people were actually hired and they were leaving within a few weeks because what was sold to them in the interview process wasn't really what they were looking for, or it wasn't executed properly.
Right.
And so having a great onboarding system set up and a good culture, and not to overwork and overburden them, which at this point, since the industry is so shorthanded, you're in a catch-22.
Yeah.
Because you don't have enough staff, hourly support, to help the management, and vice versa.
Right.
So we're still in this kind of, like, I should call it a quagmire, where it's like you don't really have what you need, and you're trying to attract people, saying that you're doing something differently than what's actually happening.
Right. No, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It kind of goes, again, like you said, catch-22. But for a company that is looking for staffing, and maybe they've never used a recruiting firm before, what are some of the advantages that a person like yourself offers to them in that search?
Well, we kind of sift through all of the possibilities of things going wrong. So we basically are doing all the searching. We can go to places where other companies can't. Like, you don't want Hotel A to be stealing talent from Hotel B. They're right next to each other. As recruiters, we have ways of getting into those hotels and attracting that talent. We also vet the candidates coming through. So traditionally, a hotel would post an ad on Indeed or LinkedIn, and they would get, well, I don't know now, maybe dozens of applicants. Many of them don't even have the qualifications that they're looking for.
It's still happening.
Yeah. So we get to vet all of those resumes. Then we do this initial screenings with the candidates. We customize it to the way the client wants. Some clients just want us to send them the screened candidate, and they take it from there. Others, we do all of the interview processes with the client and walk that candidate all the way through. We've written job descriptions for our clients. We've done onboarding scripts and schedules and agendas for our clients as well. So we're kind of custom. It's like, what do you want us to do?
Right.
We'll do that for you.
So, and I don't know if these numbers even exist, but is there any data that shows, a candidate that comes through a recruiting firm like yours? Is there proof of longer retention or things like that versus, again, going the Indeed route and just kind of getting fluctuated with anybody?
Right. Well, we do offer guarantees with our candidates, and we have different tiering. So you can have a 90-day guarantee up to a 1-year guarantee, where we will replace that candidate, whether they leave on their own or whether you're not happy with that candidate. We have last time, I think it was 2020, before 2020, so pre-COVID, we were at like a 93% retention rate.
Wow.
Within our guarantee periods.
Right.
No,
it's an impressive number.
Yeah.
I mean, and you kind of said it even before 2020. There was 1 million open jobs. There was a lot of turnover in the industry. There was a lot of movement within the industry. Then obviously 2020 hit and reshuffled the deck in a completely different way.
Right.
How do you guys leverage, again, because the way that Gecko works, and I'm sure many other recruiting firms work, is you have your territory, right? And there's other people within the company that have their own territories. But how do you guys even leverage other people that cover other areas of the country to fill your positions?
So within our company, how do we leverage each other?
Yeah, is that a thing?
Yes, we do. So we have several national clients that have hotels in every state, and we work together as a team. Usually the person that signs that national account is the go-to person. So let's say I signed somebody in Orange County that has hotels in Florida. They would call me and say, "Hey, David, we need a general manager for our hotel in Sarasota." Then I would call our recruiting partner in Florida, and we would set up a onboarding so they could we could talk to the regional office or the actual people hiring in Florida and introduce them and make that process as seamless as possible.
Makes sense. No, but how do you, as you're doing the recruiting, again, I think that there's a negative narrative around the hospitality for a lot of the employees right now, because again, you mentioned, right, the longer hours, sometimes the unpredictable hours, there's an idea of low pay, things like that. So how do you kind of, as you're recruiting and working with potential candidates, how do you kind of present the position to them, regardless of which position it might be?
Well, so working with the client, we have an intake with the client to find out exactly what makes you different than another company? What makes you stand out? Why would a candidate leave what they're doing and come work with you? So we'd work with them on that, and that's how we sell it. One of the clients I have, they have such an awesome benefits program that I was looking at it the other day, and I was like, wow. It's like, I would like to get these benefits myself. It's like, maybe I'll go back into operations. So that's kind of how we sell it to candidates. Because we do get a lot of people that you talk to, and they're like, I'm not ready to make a move, or, what's going to draw me from the job that I have now that I'm comfortable with, and some of it has to do with what's the growth potential, because some are stagnated in the roles that they're in, and so they're looking for growth. Others are looking for those other benefits. Others, it's geographical. Some may want to change sectors. They want to go from extended stay to full service, and things like that.
Yeah, it makes total sense. So how can people get in contact with you for your territories, whether you're a person looking to hire or you're a potential candidate who wants to be hired? How do we get in contact with you?
Sure. It's real easy. David at Gecko Hospitality. You can also go on our website, which is geckohospitality.com. Don't forget the www. And there's a section there where you can search for recruiters. There's also a section there where you can actually, we'll do a resume builder for you if you're a candidate that needs a new resume. But yeah, it's a very informative site, and that's how you get a hold.
Awesome. Well, David, thank you so much for your time today. Let's get back and enjoy some more CLIC.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks so much, Dave.
All right, guys. So listen, if you're out there and you're looking for people to hire, reach out to David. If you're in his territory, reach out to one of his colleagues in their territories. They can help you fill those positions that have been having so much trouble to fill. So we're going to have some more shows coming your way. Again, don't forget Friday Night Audit with me, Craig, Glenn, live in person with some very special guests coming in your way, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll have some more shows from CLIC. More updates coming to you shortly. See you soon.